Welcome back to Speedrun, where today we're talking about my favorite video game console. Say it with me, everyone. The iPod.
The iPod.
Oh
my god, that was actually in unison. I'm really proud of us.
I really am proud of us, even with like that mild delay. Yeah, I'm not even doing a
even though there's a border between us, we still got it right.
Look, all I'm saying is that iPods know no borders.
iPods know no borders.
You know, like, I know this is a gaming podcast, and this is only, what, episode 3 or 4, unless the episodes get shuffled?
Yeah.
But, let's talk about the iPod. I actually have my 3rd gen Nano plugged in right now. Let me grab that.
Nano.
Nano. Yeah,
Nano.
I love this thing. It feels so good in the hand. Anyways, would you like to give a spiel?
Great hand feel.
It's
great hand feel.
Would you like to give the spiel? Also, hi, I'm Jamie, and this is Jazzie.
Hi.
Would you like to give the spiel about what we're talking about today as I start the timer?
Yeah, go ahead, start the timer. Today we're talking about the wide world of iPod click wheel games. Because there were actually a lot of gems, and a lot of people think, iPod games. There were actually some really good games that you could buy off of the iTunes store, throw onto your iPod, and take with you, like including a full RPG from Square Enix that had a new game plus mode. What?
Wait,
I
what?
definitely did. Yeah, no, it totally did. For the life of me, I can't remember the name, but in like 7th and 8th grade, I played the absolute hell out of this. Like, I literally went to my parochial school mixer dances, and I just sat in the bleachers with my iPod Nano playing this game because it was so good. Oh, well, sorry. I'm going to have to bleep that.
It's all good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, this game was so good. And then, that's to say nothing about, there's a Guitar Hero clone that was on there. There was all the pack-in games. There was like a... not Berserk, but the game where there's a paddle at the bottom. You can move it left and right. It bounces the ball. It breaks the bricks. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like Breakout?
Thank you. Breakout. I knew I wasn't on the money with Berserk, but of course, Solitaire, the classic. I would, and I think the best part of this is that you could play your music on your iPod, use it for its intended purpose while you were playing your game, which was tight. So you have your Nano with you right here. Talk to us. I'm going to give you the talking stick.
So I just looked up this RPG you're talking about. It's called Song Summoner, the Unsung Heroes. It is exclusive to this day to the iPod.
Yep. Which makes it arguably lost media, because since the iTunes click wheel game store has gone down, the only way to get it is to buy an iPod that still has it and pray it doesn't get corrupted. Like, I'm not sure if people are able to pull the ROM for it. I mean, surely, if you're able to pull ROM data off of Hong Kong 97, yeah. I'm sure you can pull ROM data for an iPod game, but also like there's a question of emulation, and then are you able to homebrew an iPod, put it back onto original hardware, kind of like an EverDrive situation? Are you able to throw it in open EMU? And then there's also the question of these games specifically were designed to work with the rotary wheel on the iPod, and how would you do that with like a mouse or something? There's all these challenges when it comes to click wheel game preservation, and that's something I actually have a lot of feelings about, because I am very much someone who's interested in like lost media and preservation, and the idea of people just buying up old iPods, like period correct iPods, hoping to like open it up and there being a game that hasn't been dumped it on there. That's like, it's exciting, but it's also really anxiety inducing. I know since you are a Sonic tuber, this will be of interest to you. There was a Sonic the Hedgehog game.
Yes, the only game I played on an iPod as a kid.
Yes.
Because I didn't actually... Alright, so fun fact, this 3rd gen Nano that I own right now, that I got for $5 at Value Village, the Value Village, I should say.
Value Village.
Value Village. This is the first iPod here. I ever owned myself, not counting the iPod Touch, since I had one of those back in high school.
It's different.
I consider that to just be an iPhone that can't make calls.
Yeah.
As a kid, the only click wheel iPod in the house was my mom's, because I don't know, I never really needed my own iPod, but she let me put Sonic on it, and Sonic won. I remember it being a step up from the other portable version of Sonic 1 I had at the time, which was, get this, Sonic the Hedgehog, the J2ME version, for a prepaid Sprint flip phone.
Oh my god, my cousin had that.
That version was...
That version was so bad. Do you want to know the story I have with that game?
Yes.
He was playing it at a funeral. And I was like, dude, this is so boring. Can I play? And he was like, yeah, it's really bad. So I was playing it. And I was just like, not only was the game itself bad, not only was the timing really bad, given that it was a funeral, but also his phone itself was bad because it didn't have a battery indicator. And halfway through it went, meow, click. And I was just like,
I gotta be honest, like, I'm just looking at the list of games now. Like, I want to dive into these, and, you know, maybe we can dive into some individual ones in future episodes. It's just kind of an overview, but, like, because, of course, there's Sega who did Sonic on it, but surprisingly, more than Apple themselves, there's Square Enix did both their RPG and then also Crystal Defenders, which was a tower defense game. Hudson Soft apparently did a ton of games the iPod. There was an exclusive version of Bomberman just for the iPod. Yes,
there was. There was.
And keep in mind as well, all of these were just released between mid 2006 and late 2009. There's not a ton of them, but there's still stuff like Lode Runner. There's a prequel to Spore. You remember Spore?
Oh god, I forgot that was on the Clickwheel
Spore Origins. And of course, my favorite Xbox 360 game even got a port to the iPod. And of course, that's Uno.
Oh my god. Yes. Oh my god, yes.
Xbox 360 Uno memories. That's an episode right there.
So getting into the iPod itself, the device originally had a spinning hard drive, like a mechanical hard drive, before it went to flash-based storage. So for the first, I think, 2 gens of the iPod Classic, you really couldn't go running with it. Mm-hmm. So you didn't, its primary function was basically for audio files. And coming from a family of audiophiles, of course, there were like first gen iPod Classics with the actual spinning click wheel, and that was cool as hell. But my first iPod was a second gen Nano, where the screen was about as big as a ravioli on a good day, and the only games on there were Breakout, Solitaire, and like it was really rudimentary. And then I had the iPod for years until I skipped the 3rd gen. I went to the 4th gen. Which was the curvy long one with the widescreen.
Yeah.
Widescreen quote about like 3 pixels. Yeah. And I played the of that. That was the height of like my Slipknot and System of a Down emo phase, and the phase of my life that I'm still in after almost 15 years. That iPod rocked. And I love it, and that's what I played a bunch of. That's actually what I played the Squeenix game on, was that iPod. And then I used it so much I just wore it into the ground, and then I had to get another one. And at that point I had like a flip phone, and then fast forward to the end of high school, I got my first iPhone, and then it was just kind of like from there. And I just, I didn't need to carry 2 devices anymore. But I still look fondly back on the days where I had my flip phone, and then I had my iPod, just like everyone had the combination. Well, if you were from upper middle class suburbia, everyone had a cell phone of some sort and then an MP3 player of some sort, whether it be a Zune or an iPod or insert brand, or a Craig if you watch Dank Pods.
Yeah, a Craig.
A Craig.
Yeah, I picked up a Craig from Cashies.
Yeah, cashies, cash converters. But in the comments, tell us what your stories with the iPod are. I'm looking at the timer, and we are rounding out to about 10 minutes right about now or so.
And if you have... Oh, sorry, you gone?
I was just going to say, tell us what your favorite game on the iPod was, or if it wasn't an iPod, what's your favorite just portable MP3 player, just built-in game?
And of course, if you want to share those memories live, we could read them live, maybe for an episode. Or if you just have episode suggestions, you can email me directly at jamie@stuffweplay.com. Now, you mentioned everyone having a cell phone and an iPod. Well, I got into, like, grade 8 going to grade 9. For about 2 years, I had something that let me both do cell phone stuff and play MP3s. That's right.
Heck.
I had one of those cool phones that had a slide-out keyboard.
Yes. My voice just cracked so hard.
I think that's a great note to end off on, since we just hit 10 minutes. Of course, I think there is one final thing we do need to mention about iPod click wheel games.
What's that?
Homebrew. Because
Homebrew.
you
can put Linux. You can put Linux on an iPod, and it kicks butt.
And it can run Doom.
And it can run Doom, and this has been Speedrun.
Thank you very much for listening, whether you be on YouTube or Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or if you're a Patreon listening to this a week early. I'm Jamie.
I'm Jazzie.
Remember to stay classy, and we'll see you next time. And that's a wrap.